Yeah. On it. All right. Welcome to episode, I think, 18 of the Winnipeg Weight Loss Show with Mitch Calvert Fitness. Very creative with my business name. It's stuck, unfortunately. Now we have a team. It's not just me, but we'll abbreviate to MCF. That'll work for now. And I'm really excited to have a special guest on who's a member of the program, but also has a unique entrepreneurial journey ongoing that we want to dig into as well. So, welcome, Shawn Black, to the
Thanks, Mitch.
podcast.
Thanks.
Glad to have you. So I want to kind of start with a little bit of your backstory. You joined only a few months ago, but where were you kind of prior to it? What were you struggling with? And where were you where were the bottlenecks, I suppose?
Yeah, well, okay, I'll go back pretty far if that's okay.
Okay.
So I think I was always kind of a chubby kid, and always played sports, but was never like an athlete. I joined the army when I was 17, and I got in pretty good shape there. But it's pretty easy to get in shape when they just yell at you and tell you to move faster, and you're moving all day long, long days. There's not as much like comfort, right? So it was easy to be in shape. And then I got pretty into it for a bit, and then I became a police officer when I was 21. So that's been 12 years. And like that was a high stress job and really poor sleep cycles, lots of long hours, lots of overtime. And I was pretty good at the beginning, first few years. And then eventually I think I just kind of forgot how to eat, forgot about fitness. I would go to the gym, but there was no plan. And I just was so focused on being exhausted all the time that I didn't really like have a structure. And then so I started a business a few years ago, and then it really took off over the last couple of years. So now I'm actually a part-time police officer, and I do my coffee business. It's called Sheepdog. I do that the rest of the time. So with that, I think I just really lacked. I was pretty good at being structured there, but in other parts of my life, I just was out of gas, and there was no structure, and there was no thought that was going into it, and I just didn't have the space in my mind to think about structuring a diet plan and an exercise plan. And so just I realized I needed that coach. I needed someone to step in. Um, and I needed to learn some new skills and relearn some old skills that I had forgotten.
Amen. I like that. So I can kind of hear myself a bit, but oh no, we're good now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to go into your specific results. I think that's a common challenge for hard charging entrepreneurs is setting aside time for themselves. They probably have a general idea of what they should be doing, but it's too easy to kind of push it off and do everything first. But you realize later on that you kind of need to, pardon the analogy of the whole oxygen mask analogy, you got to put that on first to be your best self and career, family, business, etc. So I think you've kind of learned that throughout this process, but maybe speak to your results. I mean, obviously, we can look at a scale and say you're down, almost 30 pounds, I think, since late February. Excellent on paper. But what have kind of been the breakthroughs that aren't so obvious that have come from this process so far?
Um, I think the big one was like, uh, well, kind of I'd say maybe two big ones that were breakthroughs for me. But one was understanding, like, and I've always yo-yoed with my weight. I've always gone up in weight, gone down in weight, but usually it comes with the season. So summer comes and I cardio myself to death over the summer, and I'm counting calories kind of, but there was no with your CAP program with the protein, there was no goal, right? So I wasn't doing the full macro counting. I was just starving myself, but I'd get really poor quality calories out of too many carbs or breads or anything, and just not really thinking about how to get lean proteins into the diet. I guess, yeah, the big one would be the CAP system because it made me, realize that, oh, if I just eat, like for me, I think my budget calories like 2270 a day. If I
Yeah.
fill that with lean protein, then like I'm not hungry and I feel strong. Like, so that was the easiest, fastest thing to do.
Yeah.
So that I would say that, and then yeah, just learning like how to find those lean protein sources and then how to make them palatable that I enjoy them. Like I don't feel like I struggle at all to find food that I like eating. I don't feel like I'm on a diet. I don't feel like I'm like suffering at all, which I would say I have in the past. Like I say that now
Got
I'm
it.
not, I don't feel that way, but in the past it's always been like, okay, I got to try and lose some weight now. And then it would bounce back. So
Yeah,
it's like,
because that's not sustainable obviously the results you get from that won't be sustainable, right? So I think that was one of the big breakthroughs is you can eat more food as long as it's the quality stuff for the most part.
Mhm.
And, you still fit in some fun in that allowance each day, and the protein keeps you satiated. So it's that 1-2 punch. And, we're looking for gold bars and you're exceeding your protein target many days, which is awesome. So this is kind of where the results come from, it's that consistency to your your calorie protein goals, which is great.
Mhm.
Awesome. So maybe talk about the money saved. I know you sent this to me the other day about the
Yeah.
fact being in the program, even with the coaching fee, you're saving. Like, what were the things that you cut back on by default that actually led to a thicker wallet, thinner waist here?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't I wasn't a heavy drinker, but I'd certainly go out for beers with buddies, and like that was just common, go for lunch or something and have a beer with lunch, like that would be common. So I cut out alcohol was the first one, which isn't for everybody. I wouldn't expect anyone else to do what I wanted to do, but you know cutting out alcohol was big for me. But I think more so with having my meals kind of thought about earlier, then I wasn't just like, okay, drive through because I'm starving, and then like whatever it was, and then okay, I'll just go to a restaurant and I'll eat there, and that's like a $35 meal as opposed to a $35 day of food from just planning it, right? So, or whatever the budget would work out to be. But I would say that for sure. Yeah, I think it was. I forget the numbers I sent to you, but I just kind of went over what I had spent and what I had saved even with the program, and it was substantial. But
Mhm.
you know, I was pretty committed to this, so it was important for me to, if I was going to pay for your training and your program, that I took it seriously. So I didn't I didn't cheat a lot. I certainly went out and I had wings a couple times, but instead of eating 2 pounds of wings, I had like six, right? So and or if I wanted to have more, I'd offset it by eating less during the day. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. Those are good takeaways. I mean, certainly skin in the game helps us commit to something, and there's value in that. But yeah, saving $1,000, I think it was over the first 2 months, based off what you were typically doing, you're eating out more often. Now you have to plan in order to hit your numbers. So by default, it saves a bit. That's a good perspective on things, I think. Okay. Well, before we shift gears to kind of talk about you and your current business pursuits, like who would you recommend this for? Potentially, who would you not recommend it for? It's not for everybody, certainly, and there's a level of commitment required, but who would, first off, you would recommend it to? I might need this.
Um, yeah, I think I didn't want a trainer who I met in person. To like, I'm busy and like I don't have kids, so I pour a lot into my business. But if I had kids, I imagine I'd be even busier. And I don't know how parents do it sometimes. But the last thing I'd want is have to work off some trainer's schedule. And to me, that I think I would find that really annoying personally. But on the flip side, I've always sort of had fitness in my life, so a lot of the exercises and stuff I already knew how to do. I just had to commit
Right.
to, and then having a structured program. But the videos on the app make it super easy. I think there's like some exercise I haven't done before. I'm like, oh, how should my back be in this one? And I watch the video and it explains it. So the app is really intuitive. So I would say um, anyone that just doesn't like to be told what to do should probably you're a good fit for, because like it's just on you, it's on your own, it's your own responsibility to open the app and then log your stuff and do your food and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but
You
busy
did,
people.
yeah. You
Yeah.
did. It kind of touches on the point. I'm not an adult daycare, and I don't find that actually works sustainably. Like I was the in-person trainer. They would only work out when I was watching, and I'd give them assigned stuff to do the rest of the time.
Yeah.
It would fall flat. So there's a certain level of personal responsibility. It probably works better for someone that's got a bit of background. But yeah, scheduling nightmares at this stage of life, I couldn't imagine, scheduling with someone and trying to make that work consistently over weeks and weeks, because your weeks change every week. I've used that word a lot, but yeah.
Well, and I don't know if this makes sense at all. Maybe I'm the only person who thinks this, but there's like a culture of trainers that go to the gym with their client and they do these weird exercises that just like, I don't know. It almost feels like they want to have this client do this weird exercise so that it makes the client feel like they couldn't possibly do their workout program without the coach there. Because
Mm,
look at this unique, insane, ridiculous exercise I'm going to get you to do. When in reality, most of the lifting movements that I've done on your program are just like your
yeah.
basic barbells, dumbbells. Like it's not complex stuff. And I would say the progress I've had in my couple months, I've seen people who have personal trainers at the same gym that I go to, and they don't look any more in shape. And I think people are now, after losing almost 30 pounds and like putting on muscle mass, in the last week I've started getting a few comments from people.
Right.
But
Interesting. Yeah.
so that means that it's a noticeable change. Whereas the people I see at the gym that have these in-person trainers, they've looked the same for forever.
Yeah.
So
I hear you. Yeah, there's some
yeah.
to that. The holistic approach certainly is the key. Diet and taking accountability the other 23 hours a day, which matter far more.
Mhm.
And yeah, the in-person trainers, well, some of them with full calendars don't really have an idea of how to transform someone, not to badmouth the new guys to that field, and they're trying to be exotic and give people a good sweat, but not necessarily transformation. It works for some, but yeah, I think we've kind of hit the nail on the head on what I try to provide is getting people to an eventual place of independence, but knowing that they often need accountability and support to get over that hump. And you're well on your way, which is awesome. So let's shift gears. I think I want to kind of see the origins of Sheepdog, how this came about. Was your passion cold brew coffee, or did you kind of just stumble into it because you thought it was on tap market? Like, how did this all come about? Is the first question.
Well, um, my former business partner and I, we started in the police academy together. And then we ended up being partners, and then we ended up working in a few different units together. We ended up working in the street gang unit together. And we always talked about doing something on the side that was maybe a bit more positive. And then
Mm,
this idea for coffee came about, and it was there's a lot of coffee companies now, but when we started there wasn't many. There was only like kind of the big ones. And so we started selling some coffee, and it was going well, and it was pretty fun because we'd work all night and it'd be miserable, and you go to a shooting or a stabbing and you'd be,
mm,
all that stuff, and then you go deliver coffee to someone and they're super excited to see you, and you don't get that as a police officer. No one's ever happy to
mm.
see you. So it was like this really cool contrast, and it helped balance my life out a bit. So I say Sheepdog kind of like saved my life because it was, policing can be very hard, and it gave me this positive part of my life that I was missing. So that's kind of like the feel good backstory. But then it just kind of kept growing. So Sobeys ended up calling us one day, and then we were in Sobeys and Safeway, and then a couple years ago, we just noticed that there were so many coffee companies, and we wanted to be different. And we both like drinking cold brew, and we saw this trend in the States with these like cool places that looked like beer breweries, but they just do cold brew coffee, and it was like super trendy in like Venice Beach and in Miami and stuff. And we're like, well, let's try working towards that goal. So we bottled our first batch of cold brew. We made it. We had these little like stainless steel pots, and we brewed it up and with these filters, and we bottled it in a commercial kitchen in the basement of a church in Elmwood. And then we started selling that at like markets and stuff, and people liked it. And then we just said, okay, let's go all in on this cold brew thing and do beverages like coffee drinks. Um, and so then we got really busy, and my business partner before, he had a couple of young kids, and he said, this is just too busy. So he stepped away. And then I was all nervous about what I was going to do. And I was driving down Corden. I went for a drive for the purpose of deciding if I should go in on Sheepdog or if I should just go back to the police and shut it down. And I'm
Mhm.
driving down Corden, and this lady walked out of the Penny Loaf Bakery on Corden with her stroller, drinking one of my bottles, like out of a catalog. And I was like, okay, that's so cool. So
Yeah,
that was the
it's meant for the
defining moment.
universe,
Yeah, so it was
no
just meant
doubt.
to be. And yeah, so we're all in on it now, and we're building like a cold brew coffee brewery now with like a really cool storefront, and it looks, which is like a storefront, which I'm saying is like our tap room. So it's like similar to a beer brewery. And so the product now that we're launching right away is like a nitro canned coffee. So it's brewed for 18 hours. It's naturally sweet, 3/4 less acidic. So it's easier on your stomach, but you get twice as much caffeine as normal coffee, which is
Shit.
probably why I talked really fast through that whole thing. But yeah, so
Picking your own brand, I
um,
like it. That's a good Italian
yeah,
sentence. It's
yeah.
good brand.
So it's pretty cool. It's the new shop is on McGillivray, right by the Hockey Rink Academy in Tolucas. So we've got some great neighbors, and yeah, we're pushing it out to retailers in a few weeks. So you'll be able to see the cans out in the store, and yeah,
Hmm.
it's coming
Yeah,
together.
what's behind the new? I think you said it was somewhat of a redesign. I had a set from the fair there down by
Mhm.
Assiniboine. I can't remember the name of it. Third and Burr.
Yeah,
Or something.
yeah.
Yeah. So my wife loved it. What was the inspiration? You said it kind of more aligns with what
Yeah,
you
like
want.
I'll show you. So I have a fridge here, but so this was our old bottle.
Got it. Okay.
So it was just like a glass stubby bottle, twist off. It was nice, but I had this vision for making it like this really cool, like canned coffee that would like almost look like a beer. So when we moved to the cans, I wanted to take what this look was. I felt very like 70s camper van, like Winnebago.
Hmm.
And I said, okay, I want to take that and I want to go from 70s Winnebago to like Tom Selleck in a 1984 Ferrari. Like that was like I want to go like into this fast 80s vibe. So then we came up with these, and so this is our new can.
Mm.
So that was the inspiration for like the brand vision.
Sell it.
Um,
I like it. I like
yeah.
it.
So now
No,
what we do is we brew the coffee, we filter it, put the coffee in, and then we bought this machine that drops liquid nitrogen in the can. So it's the same as like a Guinness. So when you pour this, you get the same like Guinness froth, but there's no dairy. It kind of tricks your mouth into feeling that there's dairy in it, but there's no dairy, no sugar, no additives.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
No, the wife gave it raving reviews. We're looking
Yeah.
for, just as a segue, we're looking to kind of stock up again. Where can we find it? You mentioned Sobeys and Safeway.
So right now we're kind of pulled out of all of our retailers. We had to shut down our old bottling facility, and now we're reopening the canning facility. So we're like 3 weeks away from being done building that, and then
Okay.
we're going to launch back out. We've got over 100 retailers that are taking it once we open, and then Sobeys, Safeway, and Co-op as well on top of that. So it should be available almost everywhere once we get rolling in about 6 weeks.
Sweet.
Right now, I only have it in 2 stores. The cans we're trialing them in St. Leon's Garden Center and Vic's Market, so that you can get them there right now.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so roughly in June they'll be ready to launch, and you pretty much be able to find it anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was
Yeah.
the secret to getting into 100 plus retailers? Did you just pound the pavement or word of mouth or?
I think like because Sheepdog was kind of our side passion project for so many years, I had built up a lot of just contacts and a lot of markets, and people seem to be really enjoying our social media. So like our social media has been blowing up lately. We're getting like 100 new followers a day, so it's like super cool. So that's I think getting a lot, and then we've been we've tried to be at all the fun places. So at the Third and Birds, at the big markets like Many Fest on Broadway, and I think we're going to be doing. I don't know if anyone knows this, but they've built a bull riding arena beside Assiniboia Downs. So they're going to have the chariot
Wow.
racing and the bull riding there now. And
Sweet.
so they want us there to do coffee stuff at the bull riding. And so just being at cool places, that was, yeah,
Got
yeah,
it. Get yourself out there. Yeah, I need
yeah.
your social media game plan. It's really caught my eye. Do you do all that yourself, or you have someone on your team that makes those
We do
fun
it to,
stuff?
I would say that
Yeah.
a lot of the direction of what we're doing is my idea, but I have to give full credit to her name is Fernanda. She's the girl that manages my social media, and she's an absolute killer. She's got a little marketing company called Magic Co. So when you say it fast, it's magical. So Magic Co. And she's just an absolute like killer. She's so good. She's so fun. She's from Brazil, so she's got this like fun Brazilian accent, and she's just wicked. I just love her. Yeah,
Awesome. Well, that's cool. You'll have to get a referral fee for that.
yeah,
Nice. Awesome, Sean. No, I think that kind of summarizes everything we wanted to discuss today. Is there anything we missed about Sheepdog that we should share here to finish us off, or
No, I don't
all
think
good?
so. All
What's
good.
the website? Just so I can add it to the show notes.
Sheepdogbrewco.com.
Got it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thanks for coming
Yeah.
on. We'll
No
keep
worries.
chatting
Thanks,
on
man.
the app. Let's keep crushing your goals.
Sounds good. See you, buddy.
Talk soon. Cheers.
Bye.